Alright everybody, thanks for watching. For today's video, we're gonna redo the 3D arch with the wall on the back. I made that purple one that you saw with the like Encanto theme, but as soon as I did, I got a lot of requests. They wanted the back wall removable so you could do it just like an arch. I never did those plans for those. I'm like, let me just redo it and I'll do it without the wall, because it makes sense, because some people just love the arch and it looks great, and then some people want the wall and you can paint the wall as well. So I was like, you know what, I'll make plans for those. This one does not fold, but I made it the exact size so it'll fit in mostly any truck. The width wise, most vans they set for like a certain width. It's 4 feet wide. It'll fit easily if you transport it. It's not heavy. One person can do it. It's a lot safer with two, just to be safe, but I move it around pretty easy, just kind of pushing the middle up a little bit. Check this out, let me show you the removable part. Bam! Just like that. So you want the arch, you got the arch. You wanted a wall, we got that. Super simple. This only took a couple of hours for me to build, including paint, so I definitely simplified it. This isn't the way the pros would make it, but I simplified it where you can get everything from Home Depot or Lowe's. Thanks for watching. The plans are going to be on makerdecorshop.com, and let's get started. I'm gonna make an arch for the main part of the video. I'm actually gonna cover a couple of questions or topics that I get asked a lot. How to cut a straight line, how to create if you don't have a stencil or you want to make a custom size, how are you gonna make that arch? First, whenever I'm gonna cut an arch, I want to figure out how wide am I going. If I'm going 4 feet wide, which most plywood is 4 feet wide, well, pretty close to 4 feet wide, then I know I need to find the center, right? And so half of 4 is 2 foot. And then I also need to find the 2 foot from the top. So all I'm gonna do is measure 2 foot from the top and 2 foot here and 2 foot here, right? And that'll give me the center. And that's for a 4 foot arch. But you're like, well, what if I want a 3 foot arch? Well, then you just cut 3 foot in half. So you're gonna do a foot and a half coming this way, a foot and a half, this foot and a half, and a foot and a half is 3 feet. So that'll give you a 3 foot arch. And then you just change the numbers. If you want it smaller, bigger, you're literally just halving that to find the center of this. Let's go ahead and get that done. You can do this anything. You can use this with a piece of string. You can do it with anything. I have a scrap piece of wood, so that's what I'm gonna do, and usually that's what I do. Let me show you. You're just gonna drill out the 2 foot. So you'll do a 1 for the screw and 1 for your pencil, and they have to be exactly 2 foot, and then we're just gonna pivot around, and that'll give us a perfect arch every time. So all we're gonna do is drill the hole for the pencil. Now all we're gonna do is measure from the center of this hole all the way down to 2 feet, and we know where to put the screw at. All I'm gonna do is find the 2 foot that we had drilled marked earlier. I'm gonna drill it out. Don't go all the way through, because usually I'll use this for the back, or if I have to, you can just cover it with wood putty. But I don't go all the way through, I just make the hole. I'm gonna put it back in here, look under, slide it till it falls right into that hole. There, I found it. See? I'm gonna pull it back out and fill in just a little bit. See? That's exactly what we need. There we go. You see how it starts right at the edge? Because we measured exactly the 2 feet. Goes all the way around. So that's pretty simple, pretty quick, especially if you have a scrap piece of wood, a lot of scrap pieces of wood hanging around. I use that a lot of the time. But also, if you're a beginner and you don't want to draw out the lines, I do sell the stencils. They definitely help out a lot. If you're just getting started and you want to make sure you can see a perfect circle or perfect round arch before you trace it on there, the stencils help out a lot. But also, you can just use a piece of wood, anything like that. You can also use a piece of string. Let me see if I can find some and I'll give you an example. So I don't have a piece of string, so I just use some zip ties as an example. But you're basically just going to tie one end around like a piece of string, right? And then here's the other one. You tie the string to here. You're gonna have to make sure it's exactly 2 feet, and you can't wrap it around more than once or it'll kind of make it a little bit smaller. But for small arches or whatever, it'll give you a pretty good size for an arch. You're just kind of going like that. So a string will work as well. I definitely like the scrap piece of wood because it gives you a more accurate circle, but this will help out too. So alright, the next thing we're going to cover is how to cut a straight line. If you have some experience and you're comfortable with these tools, you can follow the trace line, go super slow, and you're good. But I know for some people a straight line can be difficult, especially they're just getting used to power tools and you feel the vibration. It can easily become a difficult task for that. It depends on the cut and what I'm using it for. If it's gonna be a scene cut, I definitely try to use like a little track or something that I can make sure that it's straight. If it's something that's gonna be not hidden, a lot of times I'll just follow the line. But if it's gonna be seen, I definitely recommend you get a clean cut, because that matters when people are looking at decorative items. And these are gonna be the bottom of the legs, so they have to be straight. If they're crooked, it's gonna make our arch look crooked. So all I'm gonna do with this, it's super easy. These are just cheap clamps that I got from Harbor Freight. They're like $2 or something like that. So you just need 2 of them, but definitely recommend getting a couple in different sizes. They help out in a lot of different situations when you need like a spare hand, especially if it's just you. You also want to stay safe, keep your fingers safe. Clamps help out a lot, but we're just gonna use 2 and then a scrap piece of wood. You definitely want to make sure it's straight. So right here, and all we're gonna do is clamp it. Use this as our guide. Is measure your saw blade to the edge of this. So I'm gonna make my line off, so when I'm cutting it, I'll be cutting on this line, and then we're gonna double check it before. So before I do anything, I'm gonna check it by pushing this lever, raising my blade to where it's not touching the wood, and then I can pull this down and it'll be right on there. And so I can actually ride against this to see if my blade matches up. So all I'm gonna do is just release this and pick this up. I don't need to cut, just to cut this 1/2 inch plywood, I just need a little bit of my blade, and that's it. If you have your blade all the way down like this, it'll still cut, but it'll struggle more because it's trying to send this whole blade through this. I don't need to do that. I can just I just need enough just to cut the plywood, and then all I'm gonna do is ride this against this. Now we got a straight cut. Alright, for this next part, we're gonna line these up, right? If you can see a little bit, I'm leaving a little bit of a gap. This is the same width of the material that I'm gonna put in the plans. You're basically, on whatever material you decide to use, you're gonna put that width on here, because we're gonna want it to sit on this side flush. I know some people build it and it seems a lot easier to tack it on the side, and it is easier, but then in the front you see that line wrap around, and then you have to either put like caulking or wood putty, and over time with people moving, of course that's gonna crack and it's gonna open, it's gonna look ugly. Might as well spend a little bit of time and kind of hide it behind, so the front, the pretty side, is what's visible and it looks clean, and you don't have any cracks or anything moving on the side. So I always try to tuck everything behind, and to do that we're gonna leave a little gap here, and then we're gonna put the board here. So when we cover this with that wood, it lines up perfectly with this. You even want to give it a little bit more extra to make sure it's hidden. All right, and then you're doing the same thing to this side, on the inside and outside, and then you're gonna measure the distance between here. I'll have in the plans what mine are, but just in case maybe your cut's not as straight, or you decide to go a little bit in or a little bit out, any little differences will make the difference. So line it up, that little gap that you need here, and the same little gap from here, and then you're gonna measure the distance at the bottom between these two, and then cut your block. And you're gonna do the same thing to the front, and you wanna make sure, do the same thing in the front. Since you're cutting a lot of this by hand, it's easily to be like a little bit off, so it's better that you measure each corner, and on the 2 corners on the opposite side, measure it, cut it, and then we're gonna screw this together, and then we're gonna attach it to the front. And you can use screws. I'm gonna use brad nails because it's gonna be a lot easier to hide. I don't have the time to be filling up all those screws, but you could definitely use screws for all of this. You're just gonna have to fill in each of the screw holes so it looks seamless, and that requires a lot more sanding. So I'm just gonna use my brad nail gun. So I'm gonna screw the back in, wood glue, definitely wood glue, and then brad nail all the front end on both sides, and then we'll get up to the next step of the wrap. Alright, so definitely I'm super hyped that it all came together, especially there's supposed to be a thunderstorm coming pretty soon. It's already getting dark and windy, so I'm assuming it's on its way. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.